My family held a funeral for me while I was alive to practice splitting my belongings. So I crashed it, revealed I'd changed my will, and watched them panic. I'd love for you to be part of this family. Subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. I promise your comment doesn't go unseen. I stood in my kitchen staring at the cream-colored envelope like it might bite me. My name, Diane Carter, was written in my sister Monica's perfect cursive across the front. Inside, an invitation. Not to a birthday party or family reunion. To my own funeral. A celebration of life planning session, it read. Join us as we honor Diane's legacy and discuss the distribution of her estate. The date was set for next Saturday at Monica's house. I'm 47 years old, perfectly healthy, and apparently my family had decided I was already dead. My hands trembled as I read it again. The audacity. The sheer disrespect. I'd worked my entire life building my real estate business from nothing, survived breast cancer 3 years ago, and raised my daughter Kendra alone after my husband Evan died in that construction accident 12 years back. And this is what I got. A practice funeral? I called my best friend Paula immediately. Girl, you're not going to believe this, I said, my voice cracking. They're planning my funeral. While I'm alive. Paula sucked her teeth so loud I heard it through the phone. Say what now? Diane, please tell me you're joking. I wish I was. I looked at the invitation again, noticing the RSVP line at the bottom. They actually expected me to confirm my attendance to my own mock funeral. Monica, my brother Jerome, even my daughter Kendra, they're all in on this. And they sent you an invitation? To your face. Like it's normal. Like I should be grateful they're including me in deciding who gets my house, my business, my jewelry. My voice rose with each word. That's when something inside me shifted. I wasn't going to let this slide. Not this time. I hadn't always been at odds with my family. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, we were close. Monica was my big sister, my protector. Jerome was the baby boy, spoiled but sweet. Our parents, James and Ruth Carter, raised us in a small 3-bedroom house on Cottage Grove Avenue, teaching us that family came first. Boys. Daddy worked double shifts at the post office while Mama cleaned houses in the suburbs. They died within 6 months of each other. Daddy from a heart attack, Mama from grief, I think. That was 15 years ago. After their deaths, everything changed. The will reading was our first real fight. They'd left the house to all 3 of us equally, but Monica insisted she deserved more since she'd been their primary caregiver those final years. Jerome agreed, of course. He always sided with Monica. I'd been busy building my business and raising Kendra alone after Evan died, but I'd still visited every Sunday, paid for Mama's medications, covered the property taxes. We'd settled it eventually, sold the house and split it 3 ways. But the resentment festered. Monica married Richard, a dentist, and suddenly acted like her money made her better than everyone. Jerome bounced from job to job, always asking me for loans he never repaid. And Kendra, my brilliant, beautiful daughter, had grown close to her aunt during her college years. Too close. I'd noticed the change after my cancer diagnosis. The way they'd hover, asking questions about my treatment, my prognosis, my assets. Monica had even suggested I update my will, just in case. I'd been too tired from chemo to question it. Too hopeful they actually cared. Now, holding this invitation, I realized the truth. They weren't worried about me dying. They were impatient for it. Paula arrived at my house within the hour, carrying a bottle of Moscato and her laptop. She kicked off her shoes at the door, a house rule I'd maintained since Kendra was little, and marched straight to my kitchen table. Okay, so we're going to this funeral, she announced, pouring us both generous glasses. We are. Absolutely. But not before we do some homework. She opened her laptop, her long acrylic nails clicking against the keys. Paula worked as a paralegal at a family law firm downtown, and she had that calculating look in her eyes that meant she was already 3 steps ahead. When's the last time you updated your will? Thought back. Maybe 8 years ago. Right after Evan died. And who's listed as your primary beneficiary? Kendra gets everything. Monica and Jerome each get $25,000. The rest, the house, the business, my savings, all goes to Kendra. I'd set it up that way because I'd assumed my daughter would take care of me in old age, that we'd always have each other's backs. Paula nodded slowly. And does Kendra know the details? I told her she was taken care of. Didn't get specific about amounts. Diane, honey, I'm going to say something you don't want to hear. Paula reached across the table, gripping my hand. That girl has been spending an awful lot of time with Monica lately. All those brunches, shopping trips, girls' weekends. You think Monica hasn't been in her ear? My stomach dropped. Kendra had been distant these past few months. Shorter phone calls, fewer visits. I'd blamed it on her busy schedule. She worked in marketing for a tech startup downtown. But what if Paula was right? The next morning I did something I'm not proud of. I went through Kendra's old room, the one she'd lived in until she moved out at 23. She still kept some things here. Photo albums, yearbooks, boxes of old papers. In the back of her closet, behind her high school cheerleading uniform and prom dress, I found a folder. Inside were copies of documents. My documents. Property deeds. Bank statements. Life insurance policies. Business valuations. Someone had been going through my personal files, photocopying everything. The dates stamped on the copies went back 6 months. My hands shook as I flipped through page after page. There were notes in the margins, calculations, highlighted sections. The handwriting was Kendra's. Property value estimated at $485,000. Business assets approximate $300,000. Life insurance $500,000. Investment accounts $180,000. She'd tallied everything up. At the bottom of the last page she'd written, total estate, $1.4 million plus. Split 3 ways equals $466,000 each. 3 ways. Not Kendra getting everything with small gifts to Monica and Jerome. She expected an equal split. With her aunt and uncle. I sat on her bedroom floor, that folder in my lap, and I felt something inside me die. Not literally, though they clearly wished it was literal, but the mother part of me. The part that believed blood meant loyalty. My phone buzzed. A text from Kendra. Hey Mom. Can't wait for Saturday. Aunt Monica is making your favorite, sweet potato pie. Love you. I stared at those words. The casual cruelty of it. The lie wrapped in emoji hearts and exclamation points. He knew. She'd known all along this wasn't just a family gathering. This was the reading of my will before I was dead. Monday morning I walked into the offices of Bernard and Associates, a law firm that handled estate planning. Paula had recommended them, specifically a lawyer named Thomas Bernard Jr., who specialized in complex family situations. The office was sleek, glass walls, modern furniture, certificates covering every inch of wall space. The receptionist, a young black woman with goddess braids, smiled warmly. Mrs. Carter? Mr. Bernard is ready for you. Thomas Bernard Jr. was not what I expected. Maybe mid-30s, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, with kind eyes that made you want to trust him immediately. Mrs. Carter, Paula told me a bit about your situation. I have to say, in 15 years of practice, I've never heard of a family hosting a practice funeral. Makes you wonder what else they're capable of, I said, settling into the leather chair across from his desk. Indeed. He opened a legal pad, pen poised. Walk me through everything. Don't leave out any detail, no matter how small it seems. I told him everything. The invitation, the copied documents, Kendra's calculations, the years of subtle manipulation. He listened without interrupting, occasionally jotting notes. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers. Mrs. Carter, may I call you Diane? Please. Diane, you have options. The most powerful one is this. We rewrite your entire will. Today. We name new beneficiaries, establish trusts, create conditions. And we do it in a way that's ironclad. No one can contest it. He paused, meeting my eyes. But I need to know, are you certain? Once we do this, once you reveal it, there's no going back. Your relationship with your daughter, your siblings, it will fundamentally change. I thought about Kendra's text. The sweet potato pie. The heart emoji. The calculation in her closet that reduced my life's work to dollar signs. I'm certain, I said. Over the next 3 days, Thomas and I reconstructed my entire estate plan. Every decision was deliberate, every clause carefully worded to prevent challenges. My house, the 4-bedroom Victorian in Bronzeville I'd bought and renovated myself, would go to a trust benefiting the local breast cancer support group that had helped me through my darkest days. They'd use it as a community resource center. My real estate business, Carter Properties LLC, would be sold with proceeds split between 3 charities. The Breast Cancer Foundation, a scholarship fund for single mothers returning to college, and a construction workers' safety nonprofit in Evan's name. My investment accounts would fund these endowments in perpetuity. My personal belongings, jewelry, art, furniture, my mama's china, would be auctioned with proceeds going to the same charities. Monica wouldn't get Mama's engagement ring she'd been eyeing for years. Jerome wouldn't get Daddy's vintage watch collection. Kendra wouldn't get anything. Well, almost nothing. I left each of them exactly $1 and a letter explaining why. Thomas assured me this was legally sounder than leaving them nothing. It proved I hadn't forgotten them, that I'd explicitly chosen to disinherit them. What about life insurance? Thomas asked. That's $500,000. I thought about that. Paula. My best friend Paula. She's been loyal for 25 years. Never asked me for anything. Helped me through Evan's death, my cancer, everything. She deserves it. Done. Thomas typed rapidly. Now the funeral. You're still planning to attend? Absolutely. I want to see their faces when I'm still breathing. He grinned. I like you, Diane. You've got spine. I'll prepare copies of the new will to bring with you. Nothing says surprise like documentary evidence. We signed everything that Friday afternoon with 2 witnesses present. Thomas handed me a leather folder containing copies. Game time, he said. I woke up Saturday with my stomach in knots. Paula arrived at 9 carrying a garment bag. Girl, if we're crashing your funeral, we're doing it in style. She'd brought me a stunning burgundy dress, elegant but commanding. Not funeral black. Not mourning clothes. Power colors. I showered, did my makeup carefully, flat-ironed my hair until it fell perfectly around my shoulders. Paula whistled when I emerged. Now that's a woman who refuses to die on anyone's schedule but her own. We arrived at Monica's house in Naperville at 11. The circular driveway was packed with cars. I recognized Jerome's Escalade, Kendra's Honda, several I didn't know. Paula parked on the street and we sat for a moment. You ready? She asked. No. But let's do it anyway. The front door was unlocked. We walked in to find Monica's spacious living room transformed. My life, our family's life, was on display like a museum exhibit. Poster boards with photographs chronicled my existence. Baby pictures, high school graduation, my wedding to Evan, Kendra's birth, my business opening, my cancer treatment. Someone had even printed out my obituary. Not a draft. An actual obituary with my birth date and a blank space where my death date should go. About 30 people milled around, drinks in hand. Cousin Brenda from Detroit. Uncle Ray from Milwaukee. Monica's church friends. Jerome's co-workers. And there, in the center of it all, stood Monica, Jerome, and Kendra, dressed in black like professional mourners. The room went silent when they saw me. Every single person froze. Monica's eyes went wide. Kendra dropped her glass, sending champagne splashing across Monica's cream carpet. "What?" I said loudly, walking further into the room. "Y'all look like you've seen a ghost." Monica recovered first, her face rearranging itself into a practiced smile. "Diane, you came. We weren't sure you'd make it." She rushed forward, arms outstretched for a hug I didn't return. "Wouldn't miss it for the world," I said coolly. "It's not every day you get to attend your own funeral." Nervous laughter rippled through the room. Jerome approached, his tall frame blocking my view of the others. "Sis, you're taking this the wrong way. This is a celebration. A chance for us to honor you while you're here to appreciate it." "Honor me? By writing my obituary? By dividing up my belongings?" I walked past him to the dining room table, where items from my house were displayed with little tags. Mama's china, Monica. Daddy's watch collection, Jerome. My jewelry box, Kendra. My business documents, to be discussed. I picked up Mama's gravy boat, turning it over in my hands. "Funny thing, Monica. I don't remember giving you permission to go through my house. Kendra has a key. She helped us gather a few things. For the display." Monica's voice had that tight, condescending quality she used when she thought she was smarter than everyone else. "Kendra." I turned to my daughter, who stood near the kitchen door, her face pale. "Come here, baby." She walked over slowly like a child caught stealing. "Mom, I can explain." "Can you explain this?" I pulled out the folder from Kendra's closet, holding up her calculations. "Can you explain why you went through my private files? Why you've been photocopying my financial documents? Why you calculated my estate value down to the dollar?" The room gasped. Kendra's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words came out. Paula stepped beside me, her presence solid and unwavering. "Or maybe you can explain this," I continued, pulling out another document. "A text message chain between you, Monica, and Jerome. The one where you discuss how the cancer might come back. How statistically, I probably only have a few years left anyway." "Mom, no, that's not, we weren't," Kendra's voice cracked. "You weren't what? Hoping I'd die? Planning for it? He's got maybe 5 years, 10 tops. We should make sure everything's in order." I quoted from the text messages Paula's paralegal friend had retrieved from Kendra's cloud backup. "Legal gray area? Maybe. Worth it? Absolutely." Monica's face flushed red. "Diane, you're being dramatic. We're your family. We love you. This was just about being prepared." "Prepared to rob me." My voice echoed off Monica's vaulted ceilings. "Prepared to split my life's work 3 ways like I'm already in the ground. You couldn't even wait for me to actually die." Uncle Ray, Daddy's younger brother, stood up from the couch. "Now hold on. Y'all did what?" He looked at Monica, then Jerome, his weathered face hardening. "You held a funeral for your living sister? To divvy up her things?" "It's not like that, Uncle Ray," Jerome started, but our uncle cut him off. "The hell it's not. James and Ruth are rolling in their graves right now. They raised you better than this." Other family members began murmuring, conversations breaking out. Cousin Brenda pulled out her phone, probably already texting the family gossip chain. I felt vindicated but also heartbroken. This was really happening. My family had really done this to me. Kendra reached for my arm. "Mom, please. I know how it looks. How it looks. Kendra, you calculated my worth down to the last dollar. You wrote split 3 ways. Not Mom's wishes. Not according to her will. 3 ways. Equal shares. With the aunt and uncle who haven't done a damn thing for you but poison your mind against me. That's not fair. Kendra's eyes filled with tears. You don't understand the pressure. Aunt Monica said you'd want us to be taken care of. And you believed her over me? Your mother. The room was completely silent now. Every eye was on us. This was the moment. The breaking point. I reached into my bag and pulled out Thomas's leather folder. Since everyone's so interested in my will, let me share the good news. I opened the folder, removing the crisp legal documents. I updated everything. 3 days ago. With Bernard and Associates, one of the best estate planning firms in Illinois. Monica's face drained of color. You did what? I made some changes. Big changes. See, I realized something important this week. My family doesn't love me. They love my assets. So I decided my assets should go somewhere they'll actually do some good. I read from the document, my voice steady and clear. The house goes to the Bronzeville Breast Cancer Support Center. They'll turn it into a community resource hub for cancer patients and survivors. Women who actually need help, not vultures circling a living woman. Jerome stepped forward. Diane, come on. You don't mean that. You're upset. The business will be sold, proceeds split between 3 charities. Breast cancer research, scholarships for single mothers, and the Construction Workers Safety Fund in Evan's memory. You know, my late husband? The man whose death you barely acknowledged because you were too busy asking if there was life insurance. Kendra made a choking sound. Mom, please. Personal belongings will be auctioned, proceeds to the same charities. That includes Mama's china, Monica. And Daddy's watches, Jerome. And my jewelry, Kendra. All of it. Gone. You can't do this. Monica shrieked, her composure finally cracking. We're your family. We have rights. Actually, you don't. Thomas stepped into the doorway, his presence commanding. I hadn't even heard him arrive. I'm Thomas Bernard Jr., Mrs. Carter's attorney. The will is ironclad. Witnessed, notarized, filed with the probate court. She's of sound mind, and I'd be happy to testify to that in any legal proceeding. He walked over to me, standing beside Paula. My team. My real family. Each of you will receive exactly $1 and a letter explaining Mrs. Carter's decision. That's more than you deserve, in my professional opinion. The room erupted. People shouting, crying, accusing. Monica's church friends quietly gathering their purses and heading for the door. This is insane. Jerome's voice rose above the chaos. Diane, you're throwing away family over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? You wrote my obituary. I held up the printed paper. Look at this. Diane Marie Carter, devoted mother and sister, passed peacefully surrounded by loved ones. Except I didn't pass. I'm standing right here. And there's nothing devoted about any of you. Richard, Monica's husband, had been quiet until now. He stepped forward, his face apologetic. Diane, I didn't know. I swear Monica told me this was a life celebration, a chance to honor you. I didn't know about the will, the division of assets. Don't you dare throw me under the bus. Monica whirled on him. You were fine with it when you thought we'd get the house. I thought we were planning a nice tribute, not conducting a practice estate sale. Their marriage imploding in real time might have been satisfying if I wasn't so exhausted. I looked at Kendra, who stood apart from everyone now, mascara running down her face. You know what hurts most? I said quietly, walking closer to her. I survived cancer, baby. I fought through chemo, radiation, surgeries. Lost my hair, my strength, my dignity some days. And you know what kept me going? The thought of you, my daughter. The life we'd continue building together. Mom, her voice broke. I would have given you everything anyway. Not because of some will or legal obligation. Because I loved you. Because you were my daughter. But that wasn't enough, was it? You needed certainty. You needed numbers. You needed to make sure you got your cut before I was even gone. Aunt Monica said. I don't care what Aunt Monica said. You're 28 years old, Kendra. You're not a child. You made choices. You chose to go through my files. You chose to calculate my worth. You chose them over me. Paula touched my elbow gently. Diane, we should go. He was right. I'd said what I needed to say. Done what I came to do. Staying longer would just be torture. The next week was hell. My phone never stopped ringing. Voicemails from Monica crying and begging. Texts from Jerome, alternating between apologetic and angry. Emails from Kendra, long rambling explanations that all boiled down to the same thing. They were sorry they got caught. Cousin Brenda called, bless her heart. Girl, the whole family's talking. Half of them are on your side, half think you're being too harsh. I'm Team Diane for the record. What they did was foul. Uncle Ray stopped by my house with a casserole. Your daddy would be proud of you, he said, sitting at my kitchen table. Standing up for yourself. James always said you were the strong one. The one with backbone. I don't feel strong. I feel alone. Strong people often do, baby girl. That's the price of self-respect. Paula practically moved in, keeping me company, screening calls, bringing wine and reality TV and distraction. But at night, alone in my bedroom, I grieved. Not for my things or my money. For my daughter. For the relationship I thought we had. Thomas called to tell me Monica's lawyer had reached out, testing the waters. They're looking for loopholes. There aren't any, but they're looking. Standard procedure when an estate this size changes hands. Let them look. But the real earthquake came 2 weeks later when I got a call from Richard. Diane, it's Richard. Please don't hang up. Why are you calling? Monica and I are separating. This whole situation, it opened my eyes to things I'd been ignoring. The way she manipulates people, the obsession with money and status. I can't do it anymore. I didn't know what to say to that. I'm calling because Kendra's staying with us, with Monica, and I'm worried about her. She's not eating, barely sleeping. I think she realizes what she's lost. She made her choice. She's your daughter, Diane. She's young and stupid and she let herself be led astray. But she's still your daughter. After he hung up, I sat with those words. So my daughter. As if biology erased betrayal. 3 months later, I was sitting in the community center. My old house transformed. The breast cancer support group had moved in, renovated, created something beautiful. Support groups met in my old living room. Resources and information filled my old dining room. My bedroom was now an office for counselors. I volunteered twice a week, using my real estate expertise to help the organization manage the property. It felt right. Like my life, my work, my survival had purpose beyond enriching people who couldn't wait for me to die. Paula met me there after my shift. You got a package, she said, handing me a small envelope. Inside was a letter from Kendra. Not an email. Not a text. A handwritten letter on actual paper. Mom, it began. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know I understand now what I did. Not just going through your files or calculating your estate. I understand that I treated you like an obstacle between me and money instead of like my mother. Like a person who loved me unconditionally, and I couldn't even give you basic respect in return. The letter went on for 3 pages. She'd started therapy. Left Monica's house. Moved into a small apartment in Pilsen. Started volunteering at a nonprofit that helped families dealing with loss. Small steps, but steps toward becoming someone better. I know I can't undo what I did, she wrote at the end. I know the will stands and it should. You earned that money, that house, everything. It was yours to give to whoever truly supported you, and I wasn't that person. But I want you to know, I'm trying to become someone worthy of being your daughter again. Even if it's too late. Even if you never want to see me. I'm trying. I love you, Mom. I'm so sorry. Kendra. I folded the letter carefully, tucking it into my purse. Paula watched me, knowing better than to ask. 3 months after that, I met Kendra for coffee. Neutral territory, a Starbucks on State Street. She looked different. Thinner, older somehow, but calmer. We talked for an hour. Not about the will or the money. About her therapy, my volunteer work, the weather, everything and nothing. When we stood to leave, she hugged me. Thank you for meeting me. I'm still angry, I said honestly. I'm still hurt. That doesn't just disappear. I know. But I'm willing to keep meeting. Keep talking. See where it goes. Her eyes filled with tears. That's more than I deserve. Probably, I agreed. But you're still my daughter. And I'm not dead yet. We met weekly after that. Slowly, carefully building something new from the rubble of what broke. I never changed the will. Thomas advised against it, and honestly I didn't want to. The charities deserved that support. But I started a small savings account in Kendra's name, adding money each month. Not for her inheritance. For her future. On my terms. Monica and Jerome? I never spoke to them again. Some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. Uncle Ray sends me updates sometimes. Monica's divorce finalized. Jerome finally got a steady job. They asked about me occasionally, he said. I told him to tell them I was doing great. Living my life. Surrounded by people who loved me for me, not my bank account. Planning my actual funeral someday, for decades from now, with people who genuinely mourn my loss instead of celebrating their gain. And when that day comes, many, many years from now, if I have anything to say about it, my legacy won't be measured in dollars split 3 ways. It'll be measured in lives touched, support given, love earned. That's the inheritance that matters. The only one worth leaving behind.